philosophical difference between Huda defenders and Nicolandria lovers is romanticization. What are we romanticizing? We are impacted by today's society, and today's society is very polarizing. Huda versus Nicolandria, despite the fact that they're friends. They're friends pre Call Her Daddy Huda interview. And I don't know what after that interview. But yes, I feel as though, based on my conversations with people who are fans of Huda and based on the videos I've seen, it appears that people love her specifically because of her crash outs. They've romanticized crash outs as a true expression of authenticity of the human spirit, the human condition, which I find interesting and alarming. It's not that falling apart, having emotional collapse it's not that it's not a part of humanity or the human experience. It absolutely is. But to have it as the defining marker of authenticity, for it to be the reason that you like Huda and then hate people who emotionally regulate, like Olandria and Shelley, that aspect of it seems very odd to me. And I'm not sure when this shift occurred. I would say probably at whatever time the term crash out was coined, probably that began the romanticization of being emotionally unstable. However, we can look further back into media and see where a lot of characters have been, glorified for being unstable. You have characters like Carrie Bradshaw, for example. She's not, Huda level of unstable, emotionally unstable, but she don't make no sense going for big. It don't make no sense paying big over Aiden. And we know this. A lot of examples in media where a woman falling apart is romanticized. A lot of white examples of white women, being romanticized in their collapse. But I have a soft spot for the anti-hero. I love Fleabag. Let me just say that. Love Fleabag. I think there's a certain awareness, a certain coming to with characters like Fleabag, where they are messy, unstable, and it is acknowledged that this needs to be improved upon. This is not the final form. In season 1 of Fleabag, by the end of it, it's no longer funny how emotionally unstable she is. We find out the truth of the matter, spoiler alert, that she feels somewhere a guilt for her friend committing suicide because she committed adultery. I don't know if it's adultery when they're not married. She hooked up with her best friend's boyfriend, and yeah, that's devastating. And yeah, you see it because her sister also knows it. That's a different conversation for another time. But with the obsession with Huda, you can comment below and correct me if I'm saying it wrong. In that regard, people are glorifying the Huda we see after post Villa, that we see coming out of the Villa, as someone who's a changed woman. 2 months is not enough time to correct 24 years of unhealed, unexamined trauma. And that's not to say that she hasn't been in therapy before, because I don't know. Maybe she has. But her behavior suggests that whatever treatment she had is insufficient at this time. The effects have not taken place yet. The behaviors have not been improved upon yet. And I think people would like it too. I think people like the idea of a redemption arc for Huda. They like the idea that, you know what, I can solve my problem in 2 months' time. Ain't no big thing. But the issues with the human mind run much deeper than a 2-month vacation in Fiji. And now for the Nicolandria of it all. Obviously, I'm biased. I'll tell you that right now. I admit it. I'm biased. I'm a Nicolandria stan. I'm a episode 21 a Nicolandria stan. I'm not one of the day oneers. I didn't notice it from the jump. I kind of was like, okay. I didn't really like Nick's hairstyle on the first day. And I didn't like how he handled the situation with Beldasha and Sierra. But when I saw that soul ties kiss, my God, it lit a fire in my spirit. I started writing poetry again. I'm reading again. Good God, I am me again because of the soul ties kiss. And in the time period when Sierra and Nick were reunited, up till she got kicked off, I was devastated. I was living in this dark space where after every episode, I was like, that's it. How are we going to resolve this issue of Nick and Nicolandria not being together? Ugh, it was tearing me apart. Ugh. So when they got back together, and even stronger than before, I felt such hope. And I think a lot of people did. And it was crazy because I was holding on to probably limerence. I was holding on to yes, as the Nicolandria Nation likes to say, crumbs. I was licking up crumbs as best as I could to stay alive. And I think, and I know in my spirit that the heart of Nicolandria is hope. It's the romanticization of romance itself, of yearning, of waiting patiently for something good to happen. It's not the microwave meal. It's the home cooked from scratch. Wait for it. In the oven, preheat that oven. Marinate the night before. It's that kind. It's that kind of meal. It's that kind of deliciousness, Nicolandria. Now, I probably haven't even said enough because I feel like I said more about Huda in the earlier part of this episode, this video. But the two factions, because they kind of are factions online, definitely on TikTok for sure, and Twitter, X, whatever. The two factions, I feel, have opposing ideologies, but still similar overlapping ideologies. Both view themselves as underdogs. The Huda stands and the Nicolandria fans, or the Huda fans and the Nicolandria stands. Huda is being viewed as this anti-hero. So crashing out is being glorified because it's one of her primary markers. And people feel misunderstood, feel like they have the best intentions, but just don't end up getting the results that they desire. And they relate to that. And then you have the Nicolandria fans who were told that they were crazy. Forget misunderstood. They were seen as insane. Well, actually, I guess it's kind of similar. The insanity of it. There's a crossover in the insanity insanity of supporting Huda and hoping for Nicolandria to be real. I'm cooking. I'm still cooking. I'm still thinking about this because I really had it clear in my mind what it is with Huda. But now, the more that I discuss it, I see some overlap in the factions. And why, yes, why are they juxtaposed? What is it that makes them not aligned? I think it's because Huda stands are trying to find positivity in this toxic behavior. And Nicolandria stands are, you know what, in some ways could be a similar thing could be said. Because, not to say that Nick and Nicolandria are toxic, but keeping secrets, the secret feeling from your partner, your connection, is not the best. And yet, Nicolandria stands revel in this hope that Nick will betray Sierra and go for Alandria. But then also, the premise of the show, it's supposed to allow for exploration, so it's not supposed to be a betrayal. But once they closed off, then it's like, whoa, betrayal. Which is why I was so devastated when Nick and Sierra closed off. I was like, it's over. It's over. It was like, but then I was also like, it can't possibly be over. That's insane. Then why am I watching this? So much had to happen for Nicolandria to be a thing. Ulysses had to be racist, like more racist than Sierra, so that they had to kick off Sierra. You can't have Sierra off without having Ulysses off. You know what I'm saying? Because like there's a way where they could have quieted the hate towards Sierra and kept her on, but because Ulysses was kicked off already for the same reason or similar reason, it would have created a lawsuit. So they had to kick Sierra off. So even if, let's say, Ulysses wasn't a thing and someone put something out about Sierra because they wanted Nick and Alandria together, they put out that she was racist against Asian people. They could have still kind of gotten away with keeping her on, but it's the Ulysses of it that solidifies that they had to kick Sierra off. So it's just crazy how much has to go into it. And then the Nicolandria edits. So many people had to be studying film editing to encourage production to get Nick and Alandria to go on that date, that first date that they got on when they thought they were leaving the villa. And then also, they had to have the right bombshells that just would not connect with Nick or Alandria in order for Nick and Alandria to get kicked off. You see, like it's this tying into fate. It's tying into how many things are conspiring, how many elements of the universe are conspiring to make something so beautiful happen like love. And then we have the Huda of it, where Huda is perpetually victimized. She's victimizing herself. How many things are conspiring against her? In her Call Her Daddy interview, she says everyone was a bully. But then, she clarifies Amaya is good. And it's not until Alex Cooper encourages her to reconsider that she then mentions Nick and Alandria, but in a very blasé kind of way. So, thematic similarities, motifs. I would say the motif here, they're foils. The Nicolandria and the Huda stands are foils. The factions are foils. The motif, fate conspiring against, fate conspiring for. Or maybe not motif, maybe those are themes. What was the other thing? Looking for something good and something toxic. That was another thing. It's two. Oh, those are similarities. Wow. I think when you go so extreme, you can't help but find similarities. It's like that kind of thing. There's a fine line between love and hate. They're both inspiring. Nicolandria's relationship inspires people to hope for more in love, and the Huda stands inspire. They inspire a lot of hate comments. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm sure they would see themselves as not inspiring hate, but rather defenders, protectors of Huda, protectors of the underdog, protectors of the misunderstood, the misfits. And now that Nicolandria has won, they are no longer in the underdog stage. But also, now that Huda has so many followers and brand deals and like people in her DMs, is she even considered an underdog anymore? They've both risen. Both. I'm having Nick and Landry be like one. They're a packaged deal. Oh, originally I was talking about the romanticization of crashing out and then the romanticization of yearning and hope. Crashing out, yearning and hope, crashing out. People want more. People want intimacy. People want feeling. I think that is I just keep finding more similarities actually between the Huda stands and Nicolandria stands, that there seems to be a lack of passion in our society. There is a destitute, hopeless kind of feeling. And Love Island is feeding that hole, giving hope that maybe this is not so meaningless, that maybe there's something to root for, someone to root for. But for the romanticization of crashing out, I have another video, like a shorter video, where I point out that lack of self control does not guarantee authenticity. Lack of self control opens one up to being controlled by an external force, by someone else. And if you're being controlled by somebody else, how can you be authentically you? This is not to say that Huda is being controlled by anything or anyone. This is just to say that in that state, if we are glorifying her for being out of control, for just freely expressing herself, whether it be positive or negative, and we seem to be seeing her in mostly in the negative, it does not mean that that is her truest self. A lot of people just aren't saying how they feel. And I feel like Huda is saying the things that people want to say in their own lives. But I don't think the solution is supporting her in being harmful and unhealthy. I think the solution is, turn off the TV and tell the people you care about how you feel. For Nicolandria, I know it's crazy because on one hand, the delusion is real. They really do feel how they feel. And they felt how they felt for each other before they even found out that Nicolandria was a nation. To be fair, I'm trying to see what it is about Nicolandria stands that is also kind of unhealthy. It's starting to become unhealthy now that they're out of the villa. We could go that route where we get too obsessed and ruin Nicolandria, ruin their chances of enjoying their love because we're just too involved. And that is also inspired by the same lack, I believe, the same lack of passion as is found with Huda stands. There's a passion, there's a void that this obsession is filling on both sides. Nicolandria stands look at Huda stands like they're strange, because how could you support this anti-hero of yours? We see her as a villain, but Huda fans see her as an anti-hero, as a Carrie Bradshaw, as a Fleabag, as a insert whatever other Joan of Arc. But that ignores the real people that she interacts with, that she has made uncomfortable, has harmed. And I think it's more than uncomfortable. This experience that they have on Love Island, it's for them as well, not just Huda's experience. There's not supposed to be one main character on the island. It's supposed to be multiple main characters. And we can't look at Huda like a character now that she's out of the villa, because she's actually a real person. Similar with Nick and Nicolandria. We can't look at them as one entity. They are two individuals. I think I tried to prove that there's a philosophical difference between Huda stands and Nicolandria stands, but after discussing it with you all, I'm realizing there's a lot more they have in common. The obsession binds them. Me. Oh. But I mean, there is still the difference. The difference, I think, also is in intent and goals. Nicolandria Nation wanted Nick and Alandria to be together. The goal is complete. And Huda stands, I don't really know. That's one thing I'm not sure. Like, what is the intent? The intent is to support Huda. That could go on forever, actually. If you have an end goal that ends, it's harder to keep your party together. But if you have a goal that has no end in sight, that requires lifetime commitment, then, well. That's not to say that Nicolandria Nation isn't about supporting Nicolandria for the rest of their time together. I do believe that Nicolandria Nation is, but that is the thing. Nicolandria could end. Huda would still be here. The relationship between Nick and Alandria could end, but Huda would still be here. Yeah, and I don't think I proved the point that crashing out shouldn't be romanticized, and actually that having respect, having emotional regulation is still, there's still an authenticity, because let me hold up, wait a minute, let me put my 2 cents in it. The poised nature of Alandria is not inauthentic, because if it were, she wouldn't be able to experience what she experienced with Nick, and we know she experienced it because we felt it in that soul ties kiss, in those glances, in that in all those little gestures. We felt it. As small as they were, it made such a huge impact. Something I want Huda stands to consider are just people who think that self-control is inauthentic. Think about how her self-control led her to communicating to millions of people that she did have feelings for Nick, and we were right. Meaning there was truth in how she behaved. There's truth in the way she held her head high. There is truth in being able to master your emotions. There is a flow that just comes naturally. The way she laughed with Nick when she said, I'm not going to give a PR answer, that was natural. It flowed out of her, it poured out of her the joy, and his smile was authentic because he felt her authenticity. Whew, I'm giving myself chills. I'm giving myself chills, man. That is to say, authenticity doesn't have a positive or a negative. It can go any kind of direction. It can make you fall in love. It can make you fall into hate. It can make you do lots of things. It can make you obsess about a reality TV show, about a couple, about a woman in desperate need of therapy. The point of this video is to say that I love this show. I love what it brought out of me, and I was feeling dead inside. I was feeling a lack. And I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful. And I'm going to try not to judge Huda Stan so much now that I realize we have so much in common in this lacking and this wanting and this revived passion. I hope we all ease and find a passion within our own lives that match or go beyond what Nicolandria and what Huda has inspired. I'll end it there. All right. Have a great day. Bye.